Good evening and welcome to today's live session for the subject Urban Governance and Development Management. So this is session 12 for week 4 of lectures, and this is the final session for this course. So today we will be covering whatever has been covered so far in week 12 of lectures. So week 12 is the final week of all the lectures for this subject. For this course, and today we'll go over some problem questions related to whatever has been covered so far in week 12, and these are the lectures that have been covered in week 12. So the first lecture would be on time management. So what is time management, why it is relevant, especially in the context of urban governance and development management, and what are the key strategies or key techniques or tools that uh, people who are in urban governance, city managers, or other governance employees can employ to better manage their time. Next lecture is on stress management. So this lecture largely covers different topics related to stress. So different kinds of stress like eustress and distress. What are the identifying ailments of a team undergoing some sort of stress, how to identify, how to move focus and energy towards de-stressing your team and making it more productive. The third lecture is on best practices in urban management. So this lecture covers few examples of best practices in urban management and how these can be lesson or a learning tool uh, for uh, urban managers or people in governance to learn from the wins and challenges of others and take those as case studies to then further develop their own development techniques or planning techniques. Then there is a lecture on reflective learning and excellence. And finally, a lecture which summarizes the entire course and also gives you some resources for further reading. So this is what has been covered so far in week 12 of lectures. And now we'll see some questions related to whatever has been covered in week 12. So the first question is, it's a true or false statement type of question. So it asks that stress can bring psychosomatic ailments in people, whether this is a true statement or false. So basically, psychosomatic ailments refer to physical illnesses or symptoms that are influenced or exacerbated by mental factors such as stress or anxiety or any kind of emotional distress. So while the ailments manifest physically, their underlying cause is often psychological rather than being any other physical or biological cause. So the term psychosomatic, it comes from the Greek word psyche, meaning the mind, and soma, meaning the body. So it emphasizes the connection between the mental and the physical health. So stress can induce psychosomatic ailments, and chronic stress activates the body's fight or flight response, leading to release of stress hormones like cortisol or adrenaline. And when prolonged, this response can then lead to the manifestation of physical symptoms, or it can lead to exacerbation of some pre-existing conditions in some people. So here is a list of common psychosomatic ailments which can be commonly observed in people. So this includes high blood pressure, angina or chest pain, heart attacks, tension headaches, migraines, backaches, shoulder pain, spondylosis, palpitations, allergies, asthma, chronic fatigue, anxiety, phobias, IBS, ulcers, insomnia, depression, and even PMS in females. So basically, addressing the psychological triggers like stress management or therapy can often alleviate or improve the physical symptoms which are associated with psychosomatic. So again, I think it is quite clear whether this statement is true or false, and I think you can easily solve this question. Moving on to another question, which is also related to the discussion of stress. So, this is again a true or false type of question, and it asks you about the different types of stress. So, the statement is that both eustress and distress are typically perceived as stress with negative effects. So, is this a true or a false statement? So, basically, stress is not inherently negative. It is simply your body's natural response to changes or demands that are placed upon. So, stress can be categorized in, sorry, there was some issue. The internet, I think. So, coming back to the question. Okay, so we were discussing what stress is. So, stress is not inherently a negative thing. It is basically your body's natural response to any kind of changes or demands that are placed upon it. So, it can be categorized into two types. One is eustress, which is positive, and another is distress, which is negative. So, both forms of stress elicit a cycle or uh, physiological response, but their effects on well-being and performance of a person experiencing that type of stress is different significantly. So, eustress refers to positive stress and it is associated with beneficial outcomes. So, it occurs when the stressor is perceived as manageable and it creates a sense of excitement and motivation, and it has uh, certain characteristics. So, first is that it motivates and focuses energy. So, eustress helps people push through challenges and it helps them direct attention and energy towards achieving certain goals. Second thing is that eustress is short term, so it is usually temporary and resolves when once the challenge is met. So it is not prolonged, it is not chronic in nature. It is only for a short term when a certain um, demanding task is required or is to be done by a certain individual. And perceived uh, eustress occurs when we perceive the stress as within our coping ability. So, eustress arises in situation where individuals feel that they have the resources to handle the demand. So, it feels exciting rather than overwhelming. Eustress is exhilarating and can lead to personal growth or achievement. So essentially, it improves the performance of people, it enhances cognitive and physical function, and it helps boost productivity, creativity, and overall performance of people. So, examples of eustress can include things like preparing for a competition, taking on a new project at work, or experiencing positive life changes like moving to a new city or things like that. So, this is what eustress is. Compared to this, distress refers to negative stress and occurs when demands placed on the individual are perceived as too overwhelming or beyond their ability to cope. So, distress has also has certain characteristics. So, first is that it causes anxiety or concern. So, it often leads to feelings of unease or worry or helplessness. It can be either short term or long term. So, distress may arise from acute challenges, which can lead to short term anxiety and distress, or it can persist over time in chronic situations and can lead to prolonged anxiety and stress disorders. So, distress as perceived as outside of our coping abilities, and individuals feel that they lack the resources or support to manage the stressor effectively. The stress essentially feels unpleasant. It creates discomfort, fatigue, and emotional strain, which can lower the overall well-being of the person. Then it also essentially decreases the performance. So it hinders the performance, making it harder for the person who is being stressed it makes it harder for them to concentrate or to problem solve or to make decisions. It can also lead to mental and physical problems. So it can contribute to conditions such as anxiety, depression, cardiovascular disease, or it can either create or uh, uh, further worsen certain psychosomatic disorders. Distress might arise from negative experiences such as job loss, financial difficulties, health issues, or interpersonal conflicts. So basically, both eustress and distress are your body's adaptation reaction, and the body's adaptation to stress, whether it leads to eustress or distress, is influenced by various factors. So, according to Schneiderman, stress is not intrinsically good or bad. Its impact on health and performance depends on how the body interacts with the environment and an individual's history of handling stress. Certain factors such as resilience, past experiences, the support system, and coping mechanisms determine whether a stressor will result in eustress or distress. In conclusion, while stress is inevitable, how it is perceived and managed determines whether it becomes a force for growth or a source of harm. Developing effective coping strategies can help individuals turn distress into eustress, and it can also help fostering better mental and physical health. So I hope it is understandable now that eustress and distress are typically two different types of stress, and not uh, both of them are associated with negative effects. I think this question is quite clear, and we'll move on to the next question, which is the form of education in which the student reflects upon their learning experience is what? And then you have four options, whether it is classroom learning, online learning, reflective learning, or MOOC, which is massive open online courses. So essentially, it is asking which among the following is a type of learning experiences is a type of learning experience which helps the student reflect upon their learning experience. So let us just look at what all these different type of learning experiences refer to. So first is classroom learning. Classroom learning is a dynamic, complex, and highly interactive process. It involves not just the transfer of knowledge from the teacher to student, but also involves social interactions, psychological processes, and uh, it also influences how students learn. So, the social and psychological behavior of students, such as engagement, collaboration, and emotional response, significantly affect their learning outcomes. And in this type of setting, learning is deeply impacted by face to face interaction, peer discussion, and immediate feedback provided by the teachers. So it allows for direct engagement with the content where teachers can adapt their methods based on real-time cues from students, and it helps promote a more personalized learning experience. So classroom learning can involve some aspects of student reflection, but it is more related to face-to-face interactions, peer discussions, and immediate feedback. Then is online learning. So online learning encompasses a broad spectrum of education that takes place via digital platforms. So It includes several things uh, like distance learning, distributed learning, and e-learning, where learners access instruction material and engage in discussions and complete assignments through virtual environments. And online learning provides flexibility and accessibility, allowing learners to study at their own pace and even to study from any location. So it often includes multimedia resources, discussion forums, um, and interactive tools to facilitate learning. However, it also requires uh, some form of uh, teacher or an instructor uh, guiding and sort of monitoring the course, or if not, this kind of online learning systems, they require self-discipline and motivation so that the learners can have a more autonomous approach to managing their education compared to traditional classroom settings. So that is what online learning. Uh, then you have reflective learning. So reflective learning is a method where individuals engage in deep internal contemplation of their experiences, uh, whose aim is to make sense of them in terms of personal growth and development. It has been described as a process of examining an issue triggered by an experience, and it allows the individual to reassess their conceptual understanding of things. So reflective learning is it encourages the learners to question their assumptions, challenge uh, uh, their preconceived notions, and apply the lessons learned from their experiences and apply it to future situations. So this process fosters a changed perspective, and it helps leading to more insightful and self-directed learning. So it is often used in experiential learning environments where the learners critically reflect on their actions to improve their own practices. So as you can see, that reflective learning is a lot about reflection and learning from your own experiences or your own perceptions of things. So I think it is quite clear whether this is a type of education which helps students reflect upon their learning experiences or. And then finally, you have massive open online courses or MOOCs. So these are a specific type of online learning. So it is again a type of online learning education system uh, that is designed to be accessible to a large global audience. So it aims to combine social networking uh, with expert facilitation, and it tries to make freely available online resources. So learners can engage from diverse backgrounds, and it allows them to self-organize their participation based on their own learning goals, their prior knowledge, and also based on their interests. So massive open online courses provide flexibility, and it encourages collaborative learning through discussion forums, peer assessments, and group activities. So while these kind of courses allow for autonomy, uh, their scale often offers unique opportunities for peer-to-peer learning also through uh, uh, interaction and networking among the learners, fostering a community-driven educational experiences. So I hope again this is quite clear. In summary, each of the mode of learning often offers unique strengths, uh, but I think among these you can easily understand that which is the most suited for this answer, which helps the students reflect upon their learning experience. So I hope this question also is quite clear. we move on to the next question, which is stressors can be of personal, social, and workplace related, whether this is a true or a false statement. So, stressors are basically external or internal pressures that cause stress, and they can arise from various aspects of life. So, these are can be categorized into personal, social, and workplace related stressors, and each type of stressor can affect individuals' mental, emotional, and physical well being in different ways. So, personal stressors are related to individual experiences, individuals' emotions, or circumstances in their personal life. So, these stressors can stem from health issues, financial difficulties, personal responsibilities, or sometimes even major life changes. So, these stressors can deeply impact a person's emotional state and coping mechanisms, potentially leading to feelings of overwhelm, anxiety, or depression if not managed properly. Then there are social stressors. So, social stressors emerge from interpersonal relationships and the pressures that are associated with social expectations or social dynamics. Social status can significantly influence one's sense of belonging and one's emotional well being, potentially leading to issues like loneliness, low self esteem, or heightened anxiety. Then you have workplace related stressors. So these arise from job related circumstances and can include things like high workloads, interpersonal issues with your colleagues, job insecurity, or having lack of control over your own work. So, workplace stressors can often lead to burnout, reduced productivity, and it can also negatively impact both your physical and mental health. So, chronic stress in the workplace can also contribute to more serious conditions, also, such as anxiety disorders or other stress disorders. So, in conclusion, yes, these are different types of stress, and uh, uh, and there can be further even more categories, but yes, stressors can be thought of or can be classified into personal, social, and workplace related stressors. So I hope this question is quite clear. We'll move on to the next question, which is in which state of India Alvar was an experiment in improvement of urban and rural transport. And certain options: Uttarakhand, Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan. And another similar question that was previously discussed in other sessions, which was the Fazilka Eco Cab is a rickshaw service in which state of India created to keep a balance between the demand and supply of non-motorized transportation by using communication technologies. So I have linked uh, the websites which provides info about both of these, let's say, urban management practice or urban examples of best case best practices of urban management. And basically, Fazilka Eco Cab and Alvar Vaini, these both are notable examples in innovative urban management practices in India, and that is why these both have been discussed. And these questions ask about which state both these have been implemented in. So, to answer the question, you can easily visit these links and read about the particular uh, initiative, and you can easily find out that in which state these have been implemented. Same for the Fazilka Eco Cab. So you can easily access these links and read more about each of these initiatives and where they have been implemented. Uh, but basically, these both are examples of innovative urban management practices in India, and both initiatives address urban mobility challenges through sustainable, community driven solutions that aim to improve accessibility and reduce environmental impact and enhance local livelihoods. So, the Fazilka Eco Cab was launched in Fazilka in Punjab. It is an eco-friendly public transportation initiative that promotes the use of cycle rickshaws for short distance travel. So the system is designed to provide affordable and easily accessible and also sustainable transportation to the residents of Fazilka with certain features. So these features include a dial rickshaw service. So this system allows the users to book cycle rickshaws via a phone call, much like the modern ride-hailing services. So this reduces the wait time and improves the convenience for passengers for their last mile travel. And okay, another thing is the sustainable and green transportation factor. So the cycle rickshaws produce zero emission, making them an environmentally friendly and a sustainable alternative to motorized NMT, and it helps reducing air pollution in the city. And finally, the important factor in this innovative urban management solution is the livelihood support that it provides. So, by promoting cycle rickshaw usage, the initiative supports livelihood of local rickshaw pullers, and it helps ensure fair wages and improved working conditions for these people. So, Fajilka Eco Cabs is an example of how urban mobility can be managed sustainably, and particularly in smaller cities like Fazilka, where public transport infrastructure may be limited. And this is an example of a low cost, accessible option for residents while also addressing environmental and livelihood concerns. Same is the case of Alvar Vahini. So, Alvar Vahini was introduced in Alvar, Rajasthan, and it is another innovative urban transport solution that leverages shared or auto rickshaws as a form of informal public transit. So, this initiative rose as a response to the lack of organized public transportation uh, in the town, and it also has certain key aspects which make it an example of a best practice. So first is the shared auto rickshaw network that it provides. So it organizes the auto rickshaws into a shared transport system, providing affordable and efficient commuting options for the residents. Another thing is the fixed routes and fares. So, unlike traditional auto rickshaws, which often negotiate fares, the Alvarvaini operates on fixed routes with standardized fares. So, it reduces fare disputes and provides transparency to the passengers also. And also, they can better visualize or understand from which key nodes or points they can hail auto rickshaws for their commute. Finally, is the aspect of mobility in smaller cities like Alwar, where conventional transport systems are not very feasible, and this kind of a model is a more practical and low cost solution to meeting the needs of the city than going into a large scale project with a huge funding, which will require a lot of economic and infrastructure updates in order to make commute in the city more accessible to all people. So, again, Alvarvaini demonstrates how small and medium sized cities can enhance urban mobility through innovative and community based transport solutions, especially where formal transit systems or formal public transit systems are lacking. So these both are key examples of sustainable urban management, as both provide accessibility options. So both try to improve access to affordable and efficient transport options for people in smaller cities, uh, and both uh, emphasize on more sustainable options, and both try to provide livelihood options for people, and both of these initiatives are rooted in community needs and community preferences, which shows the importance of involving local stakeholders in urban management solutions in order to come up with the most efficient and most context sensitive solutions. So these examples highlight how simple and locally adapted solutions can address urban challenges and can improve mobility and contribute to sustainable development in small and medium sized cities. So I think these two questions are also quite clear. We'll move to the next question, which is choose the option which describes one of the stress reduction methods. So it is basically asking that among the four options, which are procrastination, postponement, creative imagery, and delaying, among these four, which one is a type of stress reduction method? So basically, creative imagery is a stress reduction method that involves using mental visualization or mental visualization techniques to create calming, positive, or inspiring images in the mind, and it allows the individuals to imagine peaceful settings, positive outcomes, or successes in personal or professional endeavors. So, this techniques uh, helps reduce stress by mentally transporting individuals to a relaxing or a motivating place, which can ease tension and anxiety. And creative imagery is often used in mindfulness practices, in meditation or therapeutic settings to help manage stress and improve focus, and also sometimes to enhance emotional well-being. Then you have procrastination. So procrastination basically refers to the act of delaying or avoiding tasks that need to be completed, and often trying to replace those tasks with more enjoyable activities. So it is usually associated with negative outcomes, as it can lead to increased stress and increased anxiety, or sometimes can even lead the individual to miss deadlines. So people procrastinate for various reasons, such as having a fear of failure, or dealing with perfectionism, or because they are feeling overwhelmed by the task which is at hand. So it tends to increase the stress rather than reduce it. So as the looming deadline or task becomes more pressing over time, so again, this is not a type of stress reduction method. Then you have postponement. So postponement is the intentional decision to delay a task or delay an event to a later time, often for legitimate reasons. While similar to procrastination, postponement is typically more deliberate and involves a conscious choice based on practical considerations like rescheduling a meeting due to conflicting priorities or things like that. So, postponing tasks can either reduce or increase stress depending on how well the delay is managed. If done strategically, postponement can relieve stress by giving more time to focus on urgent tasks. But if mismanaged, it can lead to rushed work, or it can even lead to more anxiety. So, again, it is a method for managing tasks or prioritizing tasks, but again, it is not a method of stress reduction. Then you have delaying. So, delaying is the general act of putting off tasks for various reasons, whether due to lack of time, due to avoidance, or because you are prioritizing some other activity. So, like postponement, delaying can either be a practical approach to time management, or it can further be a source of stress depending on the situation. So, when done intentionally to accommodate more pressing matters for prioritization of more important tasks, it can be helpful, but chronic delaying can further cause more stress and act as a task pile up. So, of these four, clearly creative imagery is recognized stress reduction methods, and as it helps individuals mentally escape a stressful situation and promotes relaxation and provides clarity by visualizing positive scenarios and positive outcomes. Procrastination, postponement, and delaying, on the other hand, are generally behaviors related to task management and, if unmanaged, uh, can contribute to stress rather than reducing the stress. So I hope uh, this is clear as well. We move on to the next question. So these next two questions are both related to the time management matrix, and each of these talk about a certain quadrant of the time management matrix. So it is asking whether what is uh, the element that comes under the quadrant 3 and quadrant 2 of the time management matrix, and you have the same options, which are crisis, trivia, recreation, or interruptions. So basically, the time management matrix, it was popularized by Stephen Covey, uh, and it is a tool for prioritizing tasks based on their urgency and importance. So you can see it ranges from whether the task is urgent to whether it is not urgent, and whether the task is important to whether it is not important. So in quadrant 1, you have tasks which are urgent but not important, which are urgent and important both. Then in quadrant 2, you have tasks which are not urgent but they are important. In quadrant 3, you have tasks which are not important but they are urgent. And in quadrant 4, you have tasks which are neither urgent nor important. So basically, uh, it consists of four quadrants that can help individuals allocate time efficiently by identifying what requires immediate attention and which task can be postponed or eliminated. So the first quadrant is related to urgent and important, and it is related to crisis situations. So tasks in this quadrant require immediate attention and are crucial to achieving your goals. So they often relate to crisis such as pending deadlines or problems that need to be resolved immediately. If too much time is spent in this quadrant, it can lead to constant stress and burnout. So the key focus in this quadrant is towards managing crisis and solving problems. The quadrant 2 is not urgent but important. So this quadrant includes tasks that are important for long-term success, but they are not immediately pressing in nature. So these activities contribute uh, to personal and professional growth, such as strategic planning, relationship building, and personal development. Spending time here helps reduce the number of crises in quadrant 1, and the key focus in this quadrant is on building long-term success and preventing problems and personal growth. Quadrant 3 is related to tasks that are urgent but not important. So tasks in this quadrant appear urgent but are not important in terms of achieving your long-term goals. So these activities often involve interruptions or tasks that other perceive as urgent but do not contribute to your personal objectives. So spending too much time on activities in quadrant 3 leads to inefficiency and distraction. The key focus for this quadrant is on reducing distractions and managing interruptions effectively. Then you have quadrant 4, which is the tasks which are neither urgent nor important. So this quadrant represents activities which often involve wasting time and unproductive tasks. They are just an interruption, and spending too much time in activities in these quadrants in this quadrant leads to procrastination and unproductivity. The key focus for this tasks in this quadrant is to minimize or eliminate the time spent on these activities to free up time for more valuable tasks. So quadrant 1 is urgent and important and helps handle crisis and pressing tasks. Quadrant 2 is not urgent or but is important, so focuses on long-term planning, prevention and self-improvement. So uh, uh, related to what you can say, building long-term success, preventing problems and for personal growth. Then quadrant 3 is for which is urgent but not important, so minimizing distractions and interruptions, so solving trivial things. In quadrant 4 is the tasks that are neither urgent nor important, so you focus on eliminating time wasting activities which are interruptions or act as interruptions in the tasks that are important. So effectively managing time involves maximizing the time spent in quadrant 2 to avoid crisis in quadrant 1 and reducing the activities in quadrant 3 and 4. So I hope this was quite clear, and I think you can easily identify uh, the answers to these questions as well. Moving on to the next question, which is this is the last question for today's session, and this is asking you about the time structures. So it is a question about the time structuring pie chart, and the question is asking that arrange the following time structures in increasing order of level of strokes. So ritual, withdrawal, activity, pastime, intimacy, and games. So it is basically asking that which of these particular uh, kind of activities or type of activities in the pie structure would take how uh, the longer should be the longer time or the longer time period should be awarded to which kind of these activities, and the shorter to which kind of these activities. So basically the time structuring pie chart or the time structuring theory is developed by Stewart and Joins, and it is a concept developed from the transactional analysis by Eric Berne, which we studied earlier also. It is a psychological theory that explores how individuals manage and structure their time to meet their personal and their psychological needs. So, Stewart and Joins propose that people engaged in different types of activities to structure their time and interact with others, which can have significant impact on their well being, their productivity, and social interactions. So, there are six different categories of time structuring, and each of these categories represent how the individual structure their time in their everyday life. So these modes reflect different ways of relating to others and handling life situations. And understanding these categories can help one recognize how they spend their time and make conscious choice to improve their social interaction and productivity. So one type is withdrawal. So this refers to the time that is spent alone, uh, or which is spent alone or mentally disengaged from others. So people in withdrawal are physically present, but they focus inwardly, not outwardly. Either they are thinking or isolating or ruminating or daydreaming uh, uh, with themselves. So, some withdrawal is necessary for reflection and rest, but excessive withdrawal can lead to isolation and reduce social engagement. Uh, another type is rituals. So, rituals are routine and predictable social exchanges that follow socially accepted patterns. So, these interactions don't require deep emotional involvement, but these help maintain social connections with others around you. So, it helps maintain social bonds and provide a sense of belonging, but they don't typically offer deep emotional understanding or deep emotional connections with others. Then you have pastimes. So these are informal conversations or activities that involve discussing shared interests, opinions, or casual topics, and these provide a way for people to interact without serious or goal-oriented focus. So it doesn't have any sort of outcome. So both rituals and pastimes don't have a certain outcome associated with that particular activity. So pastimes can build rapport and foster connection, but too much time spent on pastimes can also be unproductive if not managed in a balanced way with other more meaningful activities. Then you have activities. So this involves structured, goal-oriented tasks or work which are productive and focus on achieving specific objectives. So activities do have a certain outcome that is associated with it. So engaging in activities is essential for accomplishing certain tasks and for personal growth. However, an overemphasis on activities may neglect the emotional and social needs of a person. So again, a balance is needed there as well. Then you have games. So in the context of transactional analysis, games are unconscious and repetitive patterns of behavior that people engage in to meet their hidden psychological needs. So these can be manipulative or unhealthy, and it can lead to negative outcomes in relationships as they are driven by hidden motives and often result in dissatisfaction and conflict. Then the opposite of games is intimacy. So it refers to genuine, open, and emotionally honest interactions with others. And these are referred to as the deepest and most meaningful form of time structuring, characterized by mutual trust, mutual vulnerability, and connection among people. So it is essential for emotional well-being, and it helps provide deep satisfaction and in fostering strong and meaningful relationships in people. So this pie chart basically helps you visualize and represent how people distribute their time among the six categories. And ideally, a balanced life involves spending time in all categories, but how the time allocated can greatly affect one's emotional, social, and professional well. So excessive withdrawal, like may lead to loneliness or lack of social interaction, or too much time in games can create negative patterns in relationships. Overemphasis on activities without sufficient time for intimacy or relaxation, again, may lead to burnout or stress. So balanced time structuring is something that includes withdrawal for reflection, rituals for social bonding, activities for productivity, and intimacy for emotional connections, which leads to well-rounded and well-being of the people. So if you see the pie chart, it shows you that what is the ideal amount of time an individual should spend or adjust their behavior in order to achieve a more healthier and a more fulfilling life. So it emphasizes on the importance of not just managing one task but also nurturing others. And the pie chart then shows you that which task or which kind of activity should be given what amount of time. And I think from the pie chart you can easily come to the answer of this question, that what is uh, the increasing order of the level of strokes or the time spent in each kind of activity. So I hope that is quite clear as well. So that was the last question for today. Thank you for listening, and if you have any further questions, please feel free to ask.
Uh, Good evening, ma'am. Uh,
Yes.
is there any practical workshop uh, on the course? I mean, is it organized any practical workshop about the course?
Practical workshop. I don't understand what do you mean
I
by
mean,
that. Workshop related to urban governance.
related to urban governance.
So there might be several, but depending on what you're looking for, they can vary.
So I'm very much interested about practical workshop on urban governance. So
So, in terms of practical workshop, what are you looking for? Are you looking to engage in certain governance activities, or you're just looking to learn about how governance systems work?
no, I want to engage the total activity, governance.
Okay, so for you to be able to do that, either you need to be a part of some kind of community organization, or maybe a part of certain NGOs. I think a lot of NGOs now have very good internship programs in which you can engage in certain exercises where there is community collaboration in governance practices, or essentially you can seek a position, maybe an internship or maybe a full-time position in a governance institution, where then you can take part or participate in practical or real life practices of uh, collaborative governance or governance workshop essentially. So you can look for either internships in NGOs, or maybe certain community organizations, or even in governance institutions.
Governance institution. So how can I engage in that particular section?
I didn't understand.
How can I engage in that particular section? Particular section uh, in government sector in uh, related to urban governance sector.
How can you engage? I mean, what are you trying to ask? Like, how can you get a position
No, not
in a
I-
governance institution?
so I have to learn first properly. So how can I learn properly? How can I engage in the proper institution or organization or activities so that I can learn properly first, practically. So
I think this course was kind of one uh, method or a tool for you to learn what urban governance is, what urban governance functions are. But if you're looking to learn the functions of one particular organization, you can learn more about that organization based on the resources that they have available on their website. Maybe find another other similar courses which focus mainly upon the functioning of that particular organization. And even one organization have different kinds of roles and responsibilities of the people associated with it. So I'm not sure which kind of role you are looking for. So any kind of governance organization doesn't have only one role. There are several, often numerous kind of positions, and the roles associated with it have their own expertise and qualifications. So depending on what kind of role you are looking to gain more knowledge or understanding of, you can then uh, go into the background of what qualifications you need for that role, and then accordingly you can try to learn or teach yourself about those qualifications. Maybe join courses which teach you uh, whatever there is to learn about those qualifications. Maybe join courses or any other things which you can find. I am not sure like which particular position or which particular role you are talking about. So essentially you have to look for what kind of role
Man-
you
For
are looking
example, a
for.
city manager. So how can I learn the city management, all those things? The course is enough to learn the theoretical things, but where I can practically practice, I mean, uh, I think the my question is not so good, but uh, that's
So again, as I said, for you to learn practical things for urban governance specifically, you can seek internships in urban governance organizations. So it might many uh, municipalities now have departments which focus or which deliver functions of urban planning and urban governance. So you can join those organizations. Now the smart city program has been shut, but earlier you could even join the smart city SPVs as an intern to further learn about the practicalities of the urban governance system, how the governance functions are delivered. There might be NGOs, again, as I said, who work with the municipalities or the community organizations. You can seek internships there also if you want to learn uh, practically how to work with urban governance organizations. So, internship is the best way for you to learn the practicalities of these kind of institutions.
so. Is the course is enough to join the internship if I get the good marks?
I think you can try applying. I am not sure uh, what kind of qualifications they are looking in an intern. So you can always inquire and then see more that if they require any further qualifications or whether your degree and this course is enough or not. So, what is your bachelor's or master's degree?
Um,
What have you studied?
Interior designing in bachelor degree, and after
So,
I
you have done a bachelor of design.
bachelor of design in design. After
Okay.
that, I started work professionally, and I joined SWAYAM. So SWAYAM is the uh, it's a great platform to gain knowledge. So it's a
Okay, so you don't have any prior degree which helps you be qualified for an urban management position. So usually people who have a degree in either urban planning or maybe a management degree, they are usually well suited for these kind of internships and such positions. Uh, but again, there are many NGOs and community organizations who do take interns who do not have what you can say an academic degree, but they have other qualifications like this course, and they may allow you or they may have certain opportunities for you to join their organization in an internship. So I think that may be a possibility, but again, then you have to check whether such kind of an opportunity is available or not.
okay. Now I'm very interested about urban planning uh, or governance. So governance is the most uh, interesting thing, and yes, in architectural field, of course. So I'm very much interested about planning and designing in higher studies, but I'm also very much interested in governance also. So I have to learn practically management, all those stuffs. So I'm just searching the way how can I join, where I can join.
So you can, if you want to pursue further higher education, you can look for courses in management, which focus on uh, maybe a specialization in governance. There are, I'm not sure, but there are definitely courses, at least if not specialized courses, there are there are definitely courses which focus on governance system, or how corporate, sometimes there are courses related to corporate governance also, and many times they are also useful or applicable to urban governance systems as well. So you can look for management courses, and maybe they can help you gain a better understanding and have relevant qualification which can help you enter into this field. So essentially, if you want to enter the field, look for job postings and internships, and look for the qualifications that they require of the people who are trying to join their field. See whether you have those qualifications or not, and if you don't have the qualifications, whether you can get higher education or a degree in that kind of to be able to have that qualification or not, or maybe uh, join another course or get another qualification which is then well suited for you to be able to apply in for those job positions or job postings or not. I think you can do that.
Okay. And if I work for my own, and I can if I mean if I work for my own, I mean uh, some kind of area development. If I started work for my own, like personally I started any area planning or development. So how can I approach the government authority to sanctions all those things? I mean, it already discussed in the course, already mentioned in the course, all those things.
So basically, what you are trying to say is that you want to have an independent practice as a consultant, and then as a consultant, you can provide consultancy solutions as a product to the governance organizations.
Exactly.
Is that what? Okay. So for you to do that, for you to be able to do that, you need to have your own consultancy, or you can work as a freelance consultant. And then depending on what opportunities are available, or what the governance organizations are looking for, you can then offer them your services for their projects, or anything that they require from a consultant, if that is required. So, for example, like in the smart city projects, often the SPVs employ consultants from certain organizations like EY and Deloitte. Like I have known people who are consultants and who work with the smart city SPV and the city municipalities in the capacity of a consultant. So if you want to work as a freelance consultant, or you want to have your own consultancy, you can do that. But I'm not sure being having only a design degree will help you do this or not, or maybe you require further qualifications in order to have a freelance consultancy, or for you to have a consultancy operation. So you would want to look more into that. That if you want to have a freelance consulting practice or a consultancy business, then you can further look into what more qualifications or what more courses you need to do.
Okay, I understand. So you are a designer or an architect, and yeah, I'm sorry.
I am an architect and I also have an urban planning degree. So I did my master's in urban planning, and now I'm doing a PhD in an urban planning related topic. So I am both an architect and an urban planner.
So great. And thank you for the course. It is this is the great course. I mean, really very great course.
So do you have any more questions, or should we close the session?
Mm, no, no questions more.
Okay, then I'll close the session. Thank you for attending. Uh, I wish you good luck for the exams that you'll be appearing for, and I hope you do well in the exams. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the uh, for the course and for appreciations. Thank you very much.